Welcome back to Revealing the Hidden, where we take a deeper look into Jewish living. Okay, how can we have revealed the hidden without Shabbos Kodesh? How could we have gone through so many episodes without it? Coming back to 40 days before Rosh Hashanah, trying to dig as deep as we can now, getting ready for the big moments. I wanted to take some time and explore. If you remember from the Kaleidoscope episode, and if you haven't watched it, go ahead and watch it. There are 3 prongs to Kedusha that we are constantly looking at that interact with each other. There's makom, there's place, there's man, time, and there is nefesh, soul, or man, adam. Those 3, man that's interacting with the world of place and time, and those 3 are constantly rotating, the beautiful kaleidoscope of holiness. And as those interact, every single one of those moments in that exact place, that exact neshama, will never be ever what it was before. And that time is an opportunity for Kedusha. And within the context of Hashem's memory, whatever this means, right? In Hashem's reality, that moment is forever. And the incredible blessing of Teshuvah is to be able to rewrite one. And so when we understand, we highlight and we dig deeper into understanding each of those frameworks, Zman, time, and place, or soul, the more we deeply understand it, the more we can tap into it. So Shabbos Kodesh is the Zman of Kedusha, the primary Zman of Kedusha. The whole world started this way, the Sof Maaseh, the last creation, B'machashava Techila, but what is the first intent, was Shabbos Kodesh. It is the sanctified, separated day after the buildup of 6 days of getting ready for it, of looking for it, for searching for it, and all of a sudden it's there. So I wanted to take a look at it, and I wanted to think about it. And we have so many opportunities to interact with it, 52 times a year, and then again on Yom Kippur, the Shabbos Shabboson, the Sabbath Sabbaths. And I wanted to bring to light one concept that we've spoken about before, but we're going to look at it. We're going to look at it in context of Shabbos. And that is that the Gemara says, the Gemara in Sanhedrin says that there will be 6,000 years. 6,000 years before Mashiach comes. And the 7,000, right, the last 1,000, is going to be the time of Mashiach. What does this mean? The stages of preparation of history are going to parallel the stages of preparation of the week. Each day of the week is going to be a day that has meaning, has a spiritual personality that preps itself, that moves into the next one. In fact, many midrashim say that each day has a zivug, has a partner. Sunday, Yom Rishon to Yom Sheni, Shlishi to Ravi, 1 to 2, the 3 to 4, and others pair the days differently. But then there's a zivug, there's a shidduch made between each day. And Shabbos Kodesh doesn't have a zivug. And Shabbos turns to Hashem and says, Hashem, I need my zivug. I need my mate. And Hashem says, no problem. Your mate is the Jewish people, Klal Yisrael. So Shabbos is a day just like the other days that have personality, and its personality is that it's set aside. When you think about a marriage, a Kedushin, so the Kedushin, from the word Kedusha, is described by the Baalei Tosfos on the second page, or the second Amud of Masechus Kedushin, that Kadosh means separate, means set aside for this and for nothing else. Shabbos is set aside for the Jewish people and for no one else. So in the 7,000 years of creation, Shabbos Kodesh is going to be, that last time is going to be separated, set aside for its time with Hashem, or with the Jewish people. We're going to have our moment with Hashem. And that means that all the years before, while we're searching for the ultimate Shabbos Kodesh, we're going to be waiting, like the chassan searching for its kala. But as we know, in halacha, every single day of the week we count towards Shabbos. And thus you can make Yom Rishon is that Yom Rishon b'Shabbos. Today is the first day of the Shabbos. Yom Sheni b'Shabbos. Today is the second day of the Shabbos. And each one, the Ramban actually paskins that the mitzvah of Zachor, of Shabbos, is fulfilled every single time you say the Hayom Yom. Every time that you say, this is the third day of the Shabbos week. And it's unbelievable, because if you think about the notion of Shabbos from a secular standpoint, how could it be? How could it possibly be that the week was set as a 7-day week? Like, what number system ever works that way aside from the Torah one? The number 7, the demarcation of a 7-day week, is by definition, right? And it's across the world like this, right? It's by definition a demarcation of the 7th day, of the day of Shabbos, of Hashem's Shekhinah resting. And so each day of the week we can elevate, each 1,000 years of history we can elevate and demarcate that this is for Shabbos. And especially now in the time that we're living, in the last 1,000 years before Mashiach comes, we can demarcate throughout the time. This is the time of Tzipis Yeshua, of waiting for the Yeshua, for the Mashiach, for Shabbos to come. We're looking for it, we're looking forward for it, we're prepping for it, we're showering for Shabbos, we're getting our big day Shabbos, our clothes on, we're cleaning up the mess in the house and resetting it so that when the Queen comes, when Shabbos Kodesh, the Queen comes to the world, that this world is going to be one filled. And almost like on Friday, the Erev Shabbos, the preparation, the Tzipis Yeshua, the yearning for Shabbos, is an opportunity. It's an incredible opportunity. It's a beautiful opportunity. It's a hachana, it's a preparation. And Misha Tarach b'Shabbos, as the Chazal say, when you work on Erev Shabbos, Tochal b'Shabbos, then you will enjoy on Shabbos itself. It's a metaphor for life. It's a metaphor for Klal Yisrael's history as well. That when you prep, when everything that you do is towards this relationship, this closeness with God that we've been looking for, that we've had and lost. Or we not never lost, but didn't know where it went, and feeling like, and being in Galus. Every moment that we're preparing for it, we're buying food for the wedding, so to speak. We're getting the place that we're going to celebrate in the hall. Every single part of that, there's an element of beautifying that final moment. Adam HaRishon was born on Sunday, in Yom Rishon of history, and he was supposed to live 1,000 years. We know that 70 of those years were given to David, but that would have been Yom Rishon, the day that light and darkness were brought to the world. Well, darkness was there and the light was brought in, and there was the Or HaGanuz, the light that eventually was hidden and will be brought back from Mashiach. The first 1,000 years of history. In 1948 of history, year 1948, Avram Avinu was born, which is the end of day 2, or just about the end of day 2. And it took him about 50 years to find Hashem, according to the Ramban. There are those who say that was earlier, but if you think about it in this context, according to that Shita, so right around the end of the days of water, Avram Avinu, within a year or two of when the ground was supposed to come, day 3, of history, when the years 2000 to 3000 were coming into town and coming into focus, that was the time that Avram Avinu found Hashem. And in a world where there wasn't clarity, where there was nowhere to stand, where we were in the world of the Mabul, so to speak, right, of water everywhere, all of a sudden, this man said, no, you're going to have a place to stand and to create a world where God can come in. And so the Ramban explains by Avram Avinu that Avram Avinu represented ground, right? Because ground has trees, right? It represents the trees, and the trees of tzaddikim have peiros, have fruit, and the fruit can create new fruit and new trees and new fruit. And it's the place of production. We were put in this world, even though day 1 we just saw the light and then it was hidden, and day 2 was the mabul, was the water everywhere, and there was nowhere to live. All of a sudden Avram said, no, there is a place and there's a purpose for this world, and we're going to get started. And so what did Avram do? He was promised the land of Israel. Again, you see the idea of land, of this makom that was going to be set. And as well, Avram was the first one to purchase Chevron, right, a piece of land of Eretz Yisrael. So you see that Avram was very connected to the notion of land, and that was going to be the beginning of that place. And as we know in history, it's been our place. It's been our makom. It's the world's makom for the purpose of the world, for the Shabbos to be able to come. We've had smacks of it and tastes of it. We've had the Mashiach, the temple come and go, and temple come and go. But when Mashiach comes, and it's going to be ultimately where we have that intense closeness to God, where it's not just that we're counting till Shabbos, it's going to be Shabbos itself. So the Zohar HaKadosh, and by the way, if you want to look into this idea in a more deep way, look at the last chapter of Aryeh Kaplan's book of The Real Messiah, which is a response to Christianity and what it is that that we believe in, how we would respond to it. But at the end of that book, there's a beautiful, beautiful chapter about what the real Messiah looks like, so what Mashiach talks about, and he brings down this idea. But anyways, on Friday, in the year 5600, the Zohar wrote thousands of years ago that the gates of wisdom were going to burst open. They get it based on a pasuk in Noach where the lower waters burst forth to bring the Mabul, and it was a hint, said the Zohar, the idea that in the year 5600 there's going to be wisdom that would pour out into the world in preparation for Mashiach. 5600, you're talking about Friday morning, the Erev Shabbos. The year was 1840, which is the beginning of the scientific revolution. And Aryeh Kaplan writes, it's almost like Hashem was showing, if we're not going to be getting, if we're not going to be ready for the Mashiach to come derech nes, there's also the derech teva version that we see from Chazal, that there's also a derech teva, a normal, natural way, that some of the miracles that have been discussed in Tanakh, like grapes being the size of fists and other things of that nature, might be able to come through derech hateva if we're not zoche, if we're not meriting the path of nes, of miracle instead. But the wisdom opens, and the world is coming closer and closer and closer to the time of Mashiach. And if you think about it, from 1840 till now, the world has changed so much more drastically than from the year 1000 to 1800, or even like 500 to 1800. And from 1840, and as it comes closer and closer and closer, as Mashiach comes closer, the world travels even faster. The Chavetz Chaim gives a metaphor. He says, imagine watching a train as it gets closer and closer and closer to you. It looks like it's going faster and faster and faster. And don't we know that, right, from the year 2010 to 2020, the world changed, and then from 2020 to 2022 and to 23 and to 25, each year the transition of the world is intense, and new things are learning and changing, and we can't even keep up. Mashiach is coming. Right, though the world is transitioning so fast, and we're watching this train coming and being ready for the gateways to open for Shabbos to come. And the way that we do it is by lighting the candles, by setting them and say, Hashem, we're ready, come. So I just wanted to give this background, this big general notion of Shabbos, of Mashiach, of this concept of understanding and interacting each week with the entire cosmic history of the whole world, and the notion of Kedusha. Over the next couple of days, I hope to dig a little bit more deeply into Shabbos in many different ways. But hopefully this can open up the door and the gateway in our minds to understand that when you enter into Shabbos, you're entering into a universe of infinity. You're entering into 25 hours, which is not 25 hours at all. You're entering, as we'll see, even in a very close future here, you're entering into the Beis HaMikdash of time, where time and space and man just mold into one closeness with God. There's the Ata Echad V'Shimcha Echad Mikam Yisrael. God, you're one. Your name is one, and who is like your Jew? The Jewish people are one, and we mold and melt into this reality of closeness to God that we can't even begin to describe. And so I hope this gives you a little bit of taste of the beauty and the intensity of what it is that we have an opportunity to grab onto, and hopefully that's a little bit of revealing that hidden. And we'll see you tomorrow.